everyone, I'm Sarah Rumbaugh, CEO and co-founder at Relish Careers. Today you're here at episode 1 of our summer series for incoming business school students starting school in the fall. Today we're going to be talking about industries that you may recruit for, the pros and cons and challenges and timelines of the different industries. I'm going to start with a question we received from a viewer who wanted to know about the industries she's thinking through and what to recruit for. She's an incoming student at the Wharton School of Business. She spent the past 5 or so years working in strategy consulting. In undergrad, she was a liberal arts major, studied economics. So she is thinking through a couple of industries to pursue in recruiting. She's really excited about potentially going into investment banking. She's interested in the fast pace and the salary potential, but she's also considering private equity as well as tech. So that's a lot to think through. Her first question was, what are the pros and cons and what are the timelines of these various roles? I'll start with banking. That's the most structured. If you're considering going into investment banking, the recruiting timeline is very structured. On campus, many companies will go to many schools in the top 25 business schools in person, and they come early. There are a large number of events, and FaceTime with the recruiters and the alums at the banks is really important. It's difficult to recruit for investment banking and consulting simultaneously, and I don't recommend it. Those roles are very different. You may want to think through in advance which is more important, because you'll be spreading yourself thin if you do both and may end up unsuccessful. Private equity is going to be quite a bit different. It's not as structured. There's not as much of an on-campus process. There isn't as much opportunity either. The roles are certainly out there for MBAs and it's growing, but it's very network driven. If you're interested in private equity, you're going to want to connect within your networks. Go to the career office, connect with alumni from your school, and ask about roles and start networking early. The timeline's going to be later though, because it's less structured, and that's generally a rule of thumb. If it's less structured, the timeline is later for private equity, which takes us into tech, which also has a later timeline. It's definitely grown over the past decade. More MBAs are going into tech than just about any other industry now, which was not the case a decade ago. Companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft are hiring in volumes more so than almost any other company. It's gotten a bit more structured, but the timeline is later, often going to March, April, May of your first year of business school, and there are many different types of roles. So if you want to go into technology, you may want to think through some of the roles that would be an option, because you have anything from marketing, product development, operations, business development, sales, and many other roles. So check out those roles at the various companies and really think through if you would want to recruit both for banking and tech, because banking would be really early and you may have offers on your plate and decision timelines, and you're still in the middle of the tech recruiting. Private equity and tech, you could probably do simultaneously, pretty seamlessly. So I hope that was helpful and you enjoy your first year at Wharton. I'll send you an email reply as well. Now, if I were to take a step back and talk more generally, I'll give you an idea of a few of the industries and the salaries you may see. So start with consulting, really structured, early recruiting cycle. We're talking about recruiting for companies like McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Deloitte, Accenture, A.T. Kearney, and several others. Starting in September, you'll have recruiting happening at most of the business schools. And there are often summer opportunities as well before you start school. So it's very early. A lot of in-person things happen in the fall when you're on campus, and it can be a very intense recruiting cycle. With consulting, the industry is also the function. You're recruiting for the consulting industry and your function will also be consulting. So you can really easily figure out what a role will look like. When we go to technology though, the function is not the industry. You're recruiting for tech, but there are so many roles available. Really take a look at all those roles and see what's best for you. I do want to say, if you're looking at the finance space, investment banking is not your only option. Many of the same companies who hire for investment banking are also hiring in the tech space. For example, at Chase, Amex, Discover, you can easily have a tech role just like you would at Google in product development, marketing, corporate finance. Those will have an earlier recruiting timeline than the tech companies, and the roles are not as long hours as investment banking, and really are great opportunities that you may want to keep in mind. Thanks for joining us here today. We'll be having some upcoming videos in the next couple of weeks that we also want you to tune into. We'll be talking about H-1B visa sponsorship, entrepreneurship and business school, something I went through, as well as many other topics that may be helpful for you in the weeks leading up to your first day of business school. Email us at recruit@relishcareers.com. Thanks so much.